Okay guys, here's my Post-Legacy of Destruction branded Voiceless Voice deck profile. Okay, we'll start off with the main deck. So you're going to play 2 Skull Guardian. There are times where 3 could come up. Believe it or not, some of the more rogue decks are your issue, like Dragon League and stuff like that. But you're going to play 2 of them on average. 3 low, that's mandatory, non-negotiable. 3 Saphira, that's non-negotiable. 1 of the Vanilla Saravis. We're going to play 3 Barrier. This is the card that's been around. 2 Prayers. You have to play 2 Prayers going first or second. It just, you need them. You don't want to hard draw it in this, and then that just sucks. Okay, Radiance. We're going to play 1 Trap, and then we're going to play 1 of the new card, Blessings of the Voiceless Voice. This enables just a much more layered inboard. I do want to talk about this card before we go any further. So this card, theoretically, it's good in certain matchups, but overall, it's just not worthy of the main deck. You can side it if you want. I still don't think it's that great, though. It just never feels good. It feels like you should already be winning if you get the chance to summon it. And then the honorary member is Saravis. So we play 2 of this guy. The Ritual Saravis. He's targeting negation, and basically a solemn strike. You know, basically. But anyway, that's it for pretty much what you would call our engine. And let's move on to the rest of the stuff. Okay, moving into our branded stuff. 3 Branded Fusion, 1 Fallen of Albaz. So a lot of people, if they don't play the branded stuff, they will play the Diviner and the Triage package. The issue with that is you have weird hands where you end up with Low and the Herald in your hands, and it's just like, you know, like which one do I normal summon? Typically, it's always right to do the Diviner route, but you still end up having this normal summon in your hand that you cannot use. You could argue and say, well, what if I draw the Albaz? Albaz going second is not a terrible normal summon. If you didn't draw the Branded Fusion and then draw this, yeah, that kind of sucks, but you wouldn't have drew it anyway, and it's pretty good follow-up. You know, it's like an instant Mirror Jade, pretty much. That's it for the branded package, just 4 cards. You can play Jowgen the Spirituals if you want to do locks, if you want to do Jowgen locks. But I find that it's not that consistent, so you would rather play hand traps. So 3 Preparation of Rites, this might as well be an engine requirement. People do play 2. The issue with that is there's a lot of times this is your best way to play around Droll, you know. You can activate this and then have what you need. So typically end on a pretty good board. 2 Pot of Prosperity. You could almost cut this completely. The deck's fairly consistent, especially with the new card. But at the same time, you don't want to wind up with a hand where you're like, dang, I wish I had Pot of Prosperity. Anyway, plus your extra deck's very, very not really that important. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. Of course, the branded stuff's good, but, you know. 1 Call by the Grave, because it's literally one of the most powerful one-ofs in the game. And, you know, it's just good. I mean, you could just put the Jowgen, if you're going to play the Jowgen, just take that out. But then you're heavily committed to going first. This card's first or second. If you don't need it, you set it. It can actually win games on its own. I say on its own. Then for our non-engine hand trap lineup, 3 Nibiru. This card is really great in this deck because it can be used as a tribute. 1 card tribute for the ritual spell for Saravis, or any of that, not Saravis. Well, any of them, really. It's just a good card. Good card, and it's Nibiru. So, then we have Ash. Ash, it's still so good against, like, branded, for one. It's really good against a lot of rogue strategies. And certain hands in the fire decks, it just stops them. Then we have Valor, Imperm. They basically do the same thing. This one's a little bit more limited. You can't use it under Shifter. And it is only in the opponent's main phase, which kind of sucks. But it is a tuner in the deck. So there are weird hands where that can come up. Same with this one. So let's look at the extra deck, and I'll kind of show you a little something. And I'll show you what you could change. Like, the extra deck's very flexible. Let's go into the extra deck. So for our branded package, we're going to be playing 1 Mirror Jade, 1 Lubellion, 1 Titaniclad, 1 Albion, another Albion, the Shrouded Dragon. Okay, the Sanctifier Dragon. Yeah, this is, yeah, you know, self-explanatory. Like, this gets to this, or this, or, you know. This card's just kind of a really hard monster to out for some decks. And, you know, good card. And then Mirror Jade, literally one of the best boss monsters in the game ever. Then we will have our one Chaos Angel, the only synchro we play. This can be gotten to. So it's one tuner plus one light or dark monster. However, you can treat one light or dark monster you control as a tuner. Anyways, if you're gonna be playing Ogre, it's still not bad to have this. Like, typically you're just gonna banish it off pot because you can't get into it a lot. But if you're gonna be playing Ghost Ogre in the side, you can at least keep it in. It is a card that can come up. Plus you can sometimes have like multiple things on. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. It's a good card. Typically you only play it with the Trias package. It's not gonna be consistent with this one, but hey, whatever. We're gonna play one SP Little Knight because it's so good. One Anima, and then if you want to call like the mandatory cards in this, you could say 2 Dynamundo, because this enables a lot of plays. Like, typically if you're not gonna be doing the branded fusion stuff, you're gonna be going for this. That way you can go the full board and get greedy with it, and still play under nib most of the time. And then the rest of the links: 1 Dark, 1 Selene, 1 Axis Code Talker. You could sub out 1 Dynamundo for a, or the Chaos Angel for a Luna, the Light Charmer, or whatever her name is. But at the same time, that's really not that common unless you're playing the mirror. But in the mirror, it could be good. So one little spicy tech that I like is this. You can make level 7s fairly easy in this deck. And you could probably also side Fenrir. I probably am going to side Fenrir. Like, typically you're going to side out the branded stuff sometimes if it's not that good in that matchup, and then you can just put in some Fenrirs or whatever you want to put. Plus you can just end on this, burn it for time. It's just a good time card. Then you have Superstar Slayer Typhon. This is just a card you slap down typically when you have nothing else left, but sometimes it will win you a game here and there. And plus it's really good, and you might as well, you know, play it. This deck literally has so much room. That is it for the deck. If you, well, I do want to show you one thing real quick. Let me show you what you could cut. So you could cut, let me find it. You could cut this for the Jowg, and I know I already said that. And you could technically cut 1 Saravis for the Pendulum Graph Dragon, but it's all up to you how your playstyle is. If you're really worried about spells, like maybe your locals is like everybody's playing like King Sarcophagus and stuff like that. I don't know, just whatever kind of deck they're playing. But then you would have to, if you're gonna play the Pendulum Graph Dragon, you also need to play an Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon in your deck. That way you can get a little bit of extra layered interruption with the Pendulum Graph Dragon. But anyways, guys, that's it for the deck profile. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.